What? On the way. Yeah, on the way? Okay.
You know, Bob, before I get to that, Mike Vick is not dressing. The Steelers had thought about it. They are not dressing him, which may be even more good news that Ben's arm is feeling a little better. With my buddy John Clayton here, former Pittsburgh press writer, Pittsburgh native. John's been with ESPN for probably longer than I've been with the Post-Gazette, John. Your take on Peyton Manning, which one are we going to see of him today?
I think in the first half you'll see a little bit of the old Peyton Manning, because if you really look at when he came off the bye week, he was moving pretty well for a while. The question is, can he do it for 4 quarters? And that's what the big question is. And I don't know where he's going to be after that. I know the bye week helped out. I know the fact that he's moved around well, throwing the football, and just having a chance to work with the first team. The question is, after the first half break, if he's going to start to decline, and that very well could happen.
Is this his last hurrah, whether he wins or loses today? I mean, is this his last postseason here in Denver?
I would have to think so. I mean, you can just see he's at the end. I mean, he can't fight through the injuries. I mean, and where's he going to go? Other than maybe being invited to go to the Cleveland Browns, where Jim Haslam is a good friend of his, you look at his future. His future is probably going to be running a team. He may have the opportunity to do it in Tennessee. He may have the opportunity to help out in Cleveland. And maybe there's an outside chance of something in New Orleans down the line. But I think at this juncture, the football career's got to be over. He can't throw the ball. He can't stay healthy. And if you can't do that, you can't be Peyton Manning.
Okay, there's another quarterback in this game. There's been some question of how he's going to be able to throw the ball, Ben Roethlisberger. You've seen this with quarterbacks a long time. Bradshaw in '83, when he started that game in Shea Stadium. Do you have any take on how he might be today?
Well, let's hope it's not that bad, because Bradshaw only lasted a quarter, but it did help to get the team into the playoffs. I mean, you would have to think he's going to be better than how he finished against Cincinnati. He's had the pain-killing injections. He's had the ability to try to make most of the throws, but clearly it's got to affect him. And the fact that he doesn't have Antonio Brown, he doesn't have D'Angelo Williams, I think that really makes it tough. I thought going into the playoffs, the Steelers were the most dangerous team in the AFC. Now, maybe they're going to be more vulnerable with Ben can't throw.
John Clayton, thank you very much. Ahmed Bouchette, back to you guys.
Well, I'd like it better if Antonio Brown was playing and Ben was healthy, but I'm sure they're going to try to use that as a little bit of motivation, but they still got to come out here on the field and get it done. I've been listening to you guys talk about how Peyton Manning's fresh. I'm just not buying it. I don't think he is a shell of what he was. If anybody beats the Steelers today, I think it's going to be Denver's defense, because it's better than Pittsburgh. Peyton Manning doesn't scare me. No, he's become a game manager.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And it's still under 40 degrees here, and that's not good for Peyton Manning in history. He's 0 for 5 when playing under 40 degrees. Now, Tracy, what do you think is going to happen here today? Are we going to see the Peyton Manning from earlier this year, or the one maybe from 2013?
By the way, the cold, not good for me either.
Me neither, yeah.
I have to say, I really believe, being around the team the last few weeks, I also did their Week 17 game when Peyton came in and took over for Brock Osweiler, and I believe that he's as healthy as he's been. Speaking with him this week, speaking with Gary Kubiak, he's as healthy as he's been Week 1, and maybe even before the preseason, and last year at this time. So I think we're going to see rejuvenated Peyton Manning mentally and physically, I was told. He is right there. He has all the confidence right now. They had the bye week. no limitations according to Gary Kubiak, and I think they're going to adjust the offense and make him more of a game manager and not make it all about Peyton Manning.
Well, speaking of health and quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger, I believe he's healthier than the Steelers are leading on. You just saw him. You didn't see him throw. They took him in a back room, but what do you expect from him today?
Well, we met with him yesterday, and the shoulder is no doubt bothering him. He has torn ligaments. He's got a sprain. He's got a bruise. The bruise is the biggest thing because that's the most painful thing. He is certainly not 100%. When I spoke to him this week and I asked him if he would play in a regular season game, he said no chance. So that's an interesting thing. But there's pain management, and no doubt he will receive that in the locker room. As you said, he was back there. He was throwing only for about 5 minutes, went back into the locker room. We have yet to see him out on the field, but he's a fighter. You know, covering this team, just how tough he is, and he will make it through this game. I am sure of that.
Yeah, no question about that. Now he doesn't have Antonio Brown, and that's a pretty big hit for the Steelers in this game.
It is, and they actually left him home. I mean, he didn't pass the concussion protocol, so didn't even make this trip. It will be very interesting to see how they adjust their offense.
Real quick, before we send it back, how do you expect this game to unfold?
I think it'll be close. I think health will play a big part in it. I think altitude will be an issue, how they can handle that as well. And it'll be interesting to see how these two teams come out.
All right, thanks a lot, Tracy. You can watch her today on CBS's telecast of the Steelers and Broncos. Back to you guys in the studio. Yeah, Bob, that'll definitely be one of the questions to Mike Tomlin. Should they have tried to kick that 51-yard field goal? Instead, they elected to punt. And Jordan Berry didn't have his greatest game as a punter today. A lot of miscues out there on special teams. But I think it all comes down to that one turnover by Fitzgerald Toussaint. We talked about the least amount of turnovers all week long, and now the Steelers are 0-6 when they lose the turnover battle. And that turnover was huge. And you could see walking out on the field. I was out on the field with the team, walking off. They were just devastated by this loss, scratching their heads basically because they had this game won throughout the game. They were leading this game throughout the game, and you know, that fumble right there, that was a big, at least a 10-point swing. The Steelers looking like they were going in to score at least a field goal, but instead it goes the other way, 7 points, and I think that's, in my opinion, the reason they lost here today.
You know, I've been doing this 9 years, man. It's only been 1 year where the conversation ended in the manner in which you want it to end. So such is life in this business. It's not easy, but we're built for it. It's just how it goes.
Mike, did you discuss it with him? Did you think Peyton gave himself up on that play?
Yes.
What did the ref say?
Said I couldn't challenge it.
They ran the ball at the end of the game better than they had most of the previous part of the game. What do you attribute that to, Mike?
You know, like we talked about during the week, man, Peyton's the ultimate play caller. He got him in some good checks and did a nice job. We got to the point in the game where we had to take some calculated risk, and, you know, that's why I'm sure they started him, because he's capable of not only doing things in the passing game but things like that in the running game. So I'd be remiss if I didn't compliment him in terms of what they were able to do in the run game.
Obviously a season full of injuries, a week full of big injuries. When I know it's hard to put it all in perspective, but when you look at the season and today, how close you came, any solace in
We're not
how well
into
you did
that.
play?
We're not into that.
Mike, it seemed like your special teams may have let you down a little bit, especially in the first half.
You know, we absorbed all the negativity in the first half. I'm not going to try to place blame. The game, we had an opportunity to win the game. There's going to be some good plays. There's going to be some bad plays. Those things that happened in the first half had no bearing on the outcome of the game. We were able to absorb it and overcome it and play.
How was Ben able to manage the pain, you know, going through the weekend?
He was fine. We didn't really even talk about it once the game got started.
Coach Martinez talked about great players stepping up this week when they're called upon and injuries have happened. Is he just scratching the surface? Is he after the challenge? It seems like he's.
You know, let's talk about us. You know, we came up short today. I appreciate the efforts of all of those guys, Martavis included, but we came up short today, and that's what we come here to do. We came here to win, and we weren't able to do that. So all the little sidebars, responding to challenges and stuff, that's so secondary to us. It's irrelevant.
Mike, was there anything Ben couldn't do?
Not to my knowledge. You know, not in anything that he would express.
Happened on there was only one turnover. Did you see how that play developed? Was it a good play by them? Or?
I'm sure it was. It happened going toward their bench. You know, the bottom line is, you know, you lose a turnover battle in hostile environment versus good people. It's going to cost you. It cost us today.
Like you said 8 times before you guys ended this way. This one any more difficult, or are they all the same?
You know, this one's difficult because I'm living it right now. You know, that's just the nature of this thing. I'm not getting into that. You know, that's not fair to him. The kicks we asked him to kick, we expect him to make, and he did.
A lot of injuries, a lot of next man up, people going down, and a lot of teams just kind of quit. We didn't. We stepped up and got to this point. Obviously, we're disappointed we didn't go further, but we made it to this point with a lot of young guys stepping up today, especially the wide receiver core. I thought played phenomenal today, every single one of them. And so I'm just really proud of the effort and that next man up mentality.
Ben, how did you feel physically today when you were out there?
Fine, thank you for asking.
You're welcome. And I understand after the game it got a little emotional in the locker room when Coach Tomlin addressed you. What do you have to say to you after the game and to this team?
It's tough. You know, it's emotional for everybody because everybody appreciates everybody else's efforts, and only one team ends the season the way they want to. And like I said, it was just proud of everybody's efforts, and we overcame so many things this year. To get to this point just makes you proud, and it's just, you want to keep going.
Is it a little bit different this year? I mean, you've had seasons which ended in playoff losses, but I get the sense it's a little bit different this time around, just the emotional and the disappointment of what took place today.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you say, you want to keep going, and you just feel like things are going your way because we overcome so much in the way you come back from last week's game, and it's disappointing to lose.
What was going so well for you passing game? It seemed like a lot of big plays. It seemed like a little more zone from them than.
Yeah, they did. They ran a lot of zone, and not sure if that was the game plan because of AB or what the deal was, but they did do a lot of zone, and we were able to move the ball, and then it just we kind of got down there and we hurt ourselves. But part of that is because they're the #1 defense in the world, and there's a reason for that. They're really good, but we can't get penalties and we can't do bad things when we're moving the ball.
And do you feel like, other than health, is there something your team lacked that you got to work on for next year, or was this just a play here or play there kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything. There's nothing that and obviously we'll evaluate the season now. Now we'll look back and see where could we have been better in what areas and whatever. But right now, top of my head, it's not like there's a glaring issue. Offensively, I don't like to speak about defense or special teams, but offensively speaking, I thought we had guys step up that we're just so proud of. I mean, Al, Cody, Fitz, Jordan, just everybody, and it was just an awesome thing for guys to be a part of that.
Can you look back now and say, what if AB, what if D'Angelo, what if you were out there?
Of course, we would have loved to have had Le'Veon Bell out there and Marquise Pouncey and Kelvin Beachum, but guys stepped up and played, and because they weren't out there wasn't the reason we lost this game. We didn't lose this game because we didn't have AB. Yeah, we would have loved to have AB out there and help us, but we didn't lose this game because we didn't have those guys.
How important is it for Fitz to not blame himself? It seems like
Very, because it's not on him. It's on all of us. He's one of the reasons we got here, and for him to step up, him and Jordan both, it was. I'm proud of those guys.
Did you get a look at that? Did you guys just punch it out?
Yeah, he made a great play. He's and I told Fitz after that, he kind of squeezed up. They got the first down. We're moving the ball, and you can't blame him. He's trying to make a play, and he's trying to go further, and the defender made a great play on it.
Anything else for Ben?
Thank you. Have a good one.
You guys were up in this game with the ball with 9 minutes left. What was it like afterwards, walking out and knowing the season is over?
It was very tough. We played those guys tough all game, but unfortunately, we didn't come up with the win. So it hurts. It definitely hurts.
Hey, Robert, you look at the first 2 quarters of the football game. You guys were doing scored, it seemed like you guys gave a little bit. Was it the altitude? Take a minute about how what happened in that fourth quarter.
It wasn't at all. You know, they just they out executed us. You know, you got to take your hats off to them. Peyton Manning made some great plays. They got the run game going a little bit, and they just out executed us down the stretch.
Only one turnover in this game, and it was made by Mister Photon. I don't know if you had a chance to talk to him. I mean, the guy played his heart out, given the fact that he was on the practice squad, worked his way into the lineup, played well last week, played well today until that moment. How tough is that for him?
I mean, I'm sure it's very tough for him. You know, he's a competitor, and anytime a competitor is in that type of situation, it's going to be a tough one to swallow. But he's our brother, and we're going to rally around him. And it didn't come down just to that play. You know, it was a significant play, but it didn't just come down to that play. So that's our brother. We're going to rally around him and make sure that he's staying in good spirits. You know, it was just a great game plan that the coaches put together. You know, we just tried to go out there and be on our P's and Q's and execute the game plan, which we were able to do, and we just fell short at the end of the game. Yeah, it was. You know, it was a tough situation. Nobody wanted our season to end, and it wasn't much needed to be said. You know, everybody's not feeling too good in there, but we're competitors, and I'm sure Steeler Nation, we're going to bounce back and try to get better next year. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right now.
Well, you know, I mean, obviously he's taking this one hard. At one point when we were in the locker room, Ben Roethlisberger went over and sat down with him to console him at one point, and I don't know exactly what he said to him, but it was a private conversation just with the two of them after Toussaint got out of the shower. So I guess he was just giving him some encouragement. Most of the players that I talked to did not blame that specific play. They said they could have won the game. The defense said they could have stopped them on that drive. It was just, you know, you can point to that one play now because it was such a turning point in this game. At least we can. But no one in that locker room wants to. They're not blaming injuries because I asked them all about that. They lost 35% of the offense not having Antonio Brown in there. But they said they had the playmakers to win, and this is the game that they should have won. They just weren't as good as the Denver Broncos today. I also had a chance to talk to James Harrison. He said no excuses out there. He still wants to play another year. He's going to think about it. He said it's going to be based on his kids. He doesn't want to go out like this. He said he wanted to end with a walk-off, meaning winning a Super Bowl. And definitely the Steelers had a chance. And I think why so many people were upset, it's just a tough locker room. Guys are crying, screaming, yelling. They had this game won. They were winning this whole game. The defense played unbelievable up until that last drive. And it just, that one fumble just kind of changed the momentum here. The crowd, I can tell you, was not into the game until that fumble. And then when they started the drive down the field, that's when you kind of felt the electric in the stadium towards the Broncos. So yes, it was definitely a tough locker room to be in. Tough to ask these guys questions because obviously they don't want to talk because it is the end of the season. But a lot of guys did say that this was a pretty good season when they're going to look back at it, but just not right now.